Hey, hey, hey! Hey! My new teachers. Hello, everybody. This is my fifth time already. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is the Cynthia Linox Show. I am your host, Cynthia Linox, and other guests today we have Miss Naomi Butler, who is the president and CEO of Unwrapped Show, and she's going to share her story. Naomi is on fire and energy always. We're going to be talking about living on the brighter side of life. Let me just get this music controlled here. Naomi, how are you doing? We're going to have a conversation today. And
I am doing
we want
awesome.
to hear your story. You have done so much. You need to know that this platform is open for you to relax. There is no restrictions. You can share as much as you want. And we want you to share boldly so that you can motivate, inspire, encourage, but most of all, empower others to really start living life on the driver's side. So tell us about yourself.
Can you hear me about the music?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Here we go.
That's okay. I didn't know if that was just...
Little
There we
technical
go.
situation
Yay!
here.
Well, I'll try
Okay.
to keep... Number one, thank you so much, Cynthia, for having me on your show.
Okay.
This is just... I'm so blessed and grateful for being able to share my story and get it out there in all these different ways. And
Hey,
you've been such a special friend, and to get to know you. And I just appreciate you having me on your show. It's so awesome.
it is my honor. It is my pleasure.
Thank you.
You are an
Well, I'll
asset.
just kind of give you the short version of a little background. I own Bridal Shows Inc., and this is my 36th year in business. I'm a show producer. I have produced consumer shows, trade shows, conferences. I specialize mainly in consumer shows. In 1990, I started the Dallas Bridal Show, the Plano Bridal Show, and also the Home Improvement Show that was sold in 98. And so a lot of people think, oh, she just does bridal shows. They have no idea all of the background. Besides all the shows, we had our own decorating company, which had the pipe, drape, carpet, table, skirts, chairs for our shows and other shows. And so the home show was 250,000 square feet at the Dallas Convention Center.
Okay.
And that one was huge, 450 companies twice a year. The Dallas Bridal Show and the Plano Bridal Show are now in their 34th year this year. And pre-COVID, Dallas had 300 companies in it twice a year. And of course, COVID, we had to kind of start all over in 2020, and we're slowly building it back. Events were the first to go, the last to come back, that kind of thing. I'm also an artist. I mainly paint contemporary abstract. I also do landscapes and things like that.
Beautiful. I've seen some of your work.
I just love it. I'm just having fun with everything I'm doing. And then I'm also a cancer warrior / survivor. And that's a whole other part in the story that we can get to. And I have a YouTube channel. Go ahead.
I add thriver to that. You said
Absolutely.
warrior, survivor, but now really you are thriving.
I am. It's been a journey. It's been not so easy sometimes, but I'm here. And
Yes.
I feel, again, grateful to be here and to be able to share this journey and share this story. And those that knew me pre-cancer
Yes.
knew some about me, but now it seems that I have so much more energy. It's like it's
That's for sure.
a volcano that's been bubbling inside me, and now poof, it's out. I can't explain it, but I am just so pumped. So
Wow.
that's the short version of everything.
Okay. What is it that keeps you going? Because I know when we met, it was quite interesting. We had a little situation where we missed each other on the first date, but the second date, it was just amazing chatting with you and hearing your story. And your story really doesn't match the challenge that you're going through. What's the catalyst? What's the glue that keeps you going? What is it? What keeps you going?
And just so the audience knows, we didn't practice questions.
Right, because we wanted to be as open and authentic.
Exactly.
And
this is real raw. This is
like, it's like when we met at the coffee shop for, just chatting. So you're good.
I think the glue, if you will, is just because of where God has me right now.
Okay.
I feel like there's a purpose in helping others to really live in the middle of the stuff. And so my goal is to make an impact.
Yeah.
And we're talking as big an impact as I can. And so I think that is the glue. It's that impact that hopefully I can make to inspire others,
Yes.
to motivate them, to help them and empower them to just really live no matter what's going on. So that's kind of what today's all about.
Living on the bright side of life.
Yes. I love that song, by the way.
Oh, did you? Okay. When you have an emotional situation, sometimes we can deem it easier to overcome. Mental sometimes, but when you have a physical situation that can sometimes keep you down and really hinder not only mobility, but your whole outlook on life, your whole strength and energy. How do you overcome that? Because your situation, and I'm not, you feel comfortable to share what you will, but how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that?
And we can jump around all day. I do want to go backwards and kind of give my story so that they understand
Great.
why I can answer that question right now, because the how do you get through it is very deep, very involved because of, and I can only share my story, my journey, because of the pain, all the side effects that the treatments caused, and all of the zombiness, if you will, with all the meds I had in me, and not knowing a lot of things, the unknowns and the fears, and just fighting for my life on Cancer 1 and Cancer 2, fighting for my life twice.
Wow.
And so how do you get through it? I think it's one step at a time, one day at a time.
Yes.
And I'll describe it this way. You've got gremlins. You've got those negative gremlins on one shoulder.
Right.
Bad ones.
Yes.
And then you've got the good ones, the positive gremlins.
Yes.
And so in everyday life, we know there's so many more negatives that come at us that feed our minds and mess us up in so many ways.
Right.
And those little gremlins are attacking, and they're fighters, and they're just going to eat us alive if we allow them. But those positive ones, if we grab hold of these and then knock these other negatives out of the way, it makes a difference. But it's really, it starts up here. It starts with
your mind's
mental.
I say that all the time.
It starts with the mental. And even my radiation doctor told me, he said, Naomi, because of your positive attitude, you made it through cancer number 1, all the treatments, because it was aggressive. And I did aggressive radiation and chemo. He said, most people don't make it through that round 1 that you did. With your positive attitude, that helped you get through it.
Absolutely.
So I hope that kind of answers it. I have so much more I could go into, but I think it just starts here. It's a choice. It's a mindset. I have a video on my YouTube channel, The Naomi Butler Show, about I can. Having a can-do mindset, that makes the difference to be able to get through any tough life situations, anything like what I went through and I'm still going through. But I think it just starts up here, and it's a choice.
It is a choice. When I think of the mind, Naomi, thoughts comes to all of us, and there are thoughts. Some thoughts are negative, and some are positive. Um, the ones that we allow to embed in our minds is the one that's going to get us through and get us over. The thing about it is that we have a choice. That's the one power that we possess is the choice of the thoughts we entertain. And what I have found in my own life, when I have negative thoughts, I have this big filter, and I've learned to filter it out because it does me no good. So I filter them out. And the thoughts that I allow to reside, it's, of course, I add images to my thoughts. I imagine most people do. So the images that I have floating around in my mind day and night and every moment tends to attract the things that I am imagining. It attracts it, whether it's health, whether it's abundance, wealth, prosperity, relationships, love, goodwill. It just attracts it.
Absolutely. And it's awesome when you go from A to Z and you realize that, and you realize how much what you just said helps you.
Yes.
Then you get to continue on those choices and make that journey on a more positive route. When if you keep choosing the negatives, you don't even realize what you're missing out on.
And the negatives, when you think, the negatives really motivates, creates fear. And fear is a combination of doubt and worry. And when you doubt and you worry, those are also images that we create in our minds. And that is what causes fear. Now, I subscribe to the thought that, the body is meant to heal itself. But as you said, I believe it starts in the mind. Whatever you register in your mind, it's going to really affect your overall well-being. Do you agree?
I agree. I think there's a lot more to that for me.
Sure. Yes.
Because of what I've gone through. I have a strong faith. I know that faith has helped me in so many ways. I have changed some of the ways, not everything. I've changed some of the ways that I eat. I do my oatmeal and my smoothie for a brunch because I still have a tough time with mornings. Early mornings is not easy for me because of the fatigue that I still deal with.
Right.
But I've got 27 ingredients in my smoothie, and it includes a lot of anti-cancer, antioxidants. I'm doing some things different. I'm using this stuff called lymphotonic cleanse because they said it's metastatic. It's in my blood and lymph nodes, and it'll pop up when and where it wants. So I started this lymphotonic cleanse. I even told my radiation doctor a couple of weeks ago about that. And so I've been doing all of these things, but I also have been praying, believing, and claiming. And when we get to the real bits of the cancer story, I'll be able to share with you how that has helped me get through and has made a difference. Not just having a positive mindset, but I am a walking miracle. It's amazing. And we can start at the beginning and I can come forward about that, but there's just so many parts to it. It's not just one thing for me.
Yes. Share that with us. Share that with us.
Okay. Well, I used to be a workaholic. Okay. I'm a business owner, and that's my main priority every day, no matter what else. And if, as you see on my YouTube channel, you'll see all kinds of playlists because I love doing all kinds of things. And my business is the priority every day, whatever I've got to get done that day. And so over the years, I have, of course, been on my phone all the time. Always had the phone up to my right ear all the time.
Okay.
And I had TMJ probably 20 years ago that was so bad at the end of a Dallas show, and my jaw was out of line for about a week. And they did an MRI and didn't see anything. But now I know to tell people anybody who has TMJ, go check it out. Check it out another year, check it out another year, because I think all of that started back then. Well, in October 2018, and there's a lot to get me to that, but I'll just start there. Yeah. That's when I went in for surgery.
And that's for the TMJ.
It was a knot, actually. It was a knot that I had gone to my ENT, and he'd said, when you to do a CT scan, they did. There was a 2-inch deep tumor close to my brain. And they did a biopsy. They couldn't tell if it was cancer. I said, it's not cancer. So I was scheduled for surgery because he said it's got to come out. And he sent me to a surgeon in Dallas that he would have recommended. He's an ENT specialist surgeon. Awesome. Because what he had to do is he had to cut here all the way down, from the back of the ear all the way down and all the way down into my neck. And if you look real close, you won't even see it. He was such a good surgeon.
Yeah.
He had to peel open, and the tumor, this is after 5 hours surgery, is what he had to tell my kids and Jack. He had to open it up and peel the tumor off of 45 plus facial nerves, leaving the main facial nerve alone, or I would have been totally paralyzed on my face forever. And in the recovery room, I remember I couldn't even open my eyes because me and anesthesia, me and meds, we don't do well. So I can't even open my eyes yet. And he said, you have an aggressive cancer. And at that time, we didn't know what kind it was. They had to send it off to pathology, but he could tell it was aggressive. And
right.
He said, you're going to be fighting for your life the next 7 months or more.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, I said, I have cancer? Because I went in thinking and believing I didn't have cancer. And so I started crying a little bit. And then I realized my sweetheart Jack, my grown son and daughter, Brian and Mary, were in the room. And I thought, okay, Naomi, you got to quit crying. Wow. Just grab hold of this.
Yeah.
And then, long story short is I had to get dental clearance. So I had to have a tooth pulled. So I had a tooth pulled on the right side, so I didn't have a chewing teeth. I'd had 2 dental implants started at the back top left area, so I didn't have chewing teeth. I went into this and I said, let's get this done. So I had to heal from the surgery and the tooth being pulled and go into radiation and chemo aggressively, because they said if I hadn't gone in, I would have been dead in 3 months. And even my radiologist said, while you're having all of this done, it is so close to the brain that it could go to your brain any moment.
Now, that is before your major surgery on your...
No, that was after the surgery is when he found this. And then after that, I had to have the tooth pulled. And then I started the radiation and chemo about a month after the surgery, because I had to heal from those 2 things.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was aggressive radiation, aggressive chemo. I will not sugarcoat this. It was rough. It was so rough. And I was on so many meds to try to help me get through whatever nausea, whatever pain. And they said, okay, you're not going to have pain until about the 3rd or 4th week. Well, the first day I went in for radiation, you have to understand, head and neck cancer radiation, you go in with a mask. And this mask starts out as kind of like a soft mesh that they put in a microwave, and then they put it over you, and it sucks to your face like hard steel, your neck, your shoulders. I mean, it just sucks to you where there's no space. And then when you're in radiation, they clamp it down.
Are you under the effect of anesthesia at this time or no?
Well, when I started radiation was a month after the surgery.
Okay.
So this is a month after everything. I start radiation. Day one, having that mask clamped down.
Wow.
The TMJ happened. And my jaw got out of line and I was in excruciating pain. And so the second day of radiation was my first day of chemo, and I went in and my pain was off the charts. So they had to give me morphine. They were trying to get that pain under control, which it was not. And so the first day of chemo, I told them I don't do well with meds, and they were putting everything in too fast. Brian and Jack were in the room. I was on the phone with Mary. She's in Arizona. Right. And all of a sudden, I'm telling Mary, something's wrong. Something's not right. And Jack sees me turn bright red, and my throat is closing up. So Brian runs. Wow. They grab the doctor. He runs in. They stop the chemo. This is just the second day of radiation, first day of chemo. Okay. Yeah. And so I had this reaction. They learned. Long short is they had to put everything in slow. All the stuff before the chemo, you get steroids, you get anti-nausea, you get Benadryl, you get so many things put in you before they put the poison in you. And so I went through, I think 8 weeks of radiation. I think it was 7 of chemo. And I was going into the chemo sessions early, and I was the last one. I closed the chemo bar down every time. So I made it through that round 1 because every day I had pain. It was not the 3rd or 4th week. I went from one pain to the next, to the next, to the next. And this is just round 1. And every day my mental part was get through today, just get through today, because there's so much more to that story. But I made it through. I made it. And then in 2020, the year of COVID, okay, I closed the office down. I'd had that office for 17 years. I set up my YouTube channel to give hope and encouragement to other cancer warriors. That was my main goal of setting it up. Wow. And I'm not techie. You and I have talked about this. I'm not techie, but I set that YouTube channel up by myself. I was so proud of myself. And then cancer number 2 happened.
Wow.
It moved to my left lung. It was in the pleural lining of the left lung. I had a pleural biopsy. That's a surgery. It's 6 holes in me, and it was 3 garden hoses because they had to drain the fluid out. And then I had to go through double dosage of both chemos, December 2020 till April 2021. And that was another rough fighting for my life. Wow. After each infusion, Cynthia, I've never gone through this, and I hope nobody ever has to, but the pain and the neuropathy was so bad that I didn't sleep for 7 days and nights, up to 10, sometimes 10 days and nights, 7 to 10 days and nights after each infusion. So 6 times that. In that 5.5 month time frame, I lost up to 60 days of sleep. We're not talking just nights. We're talking days and nights. And
how long were you in the hospital?
No, I was never had to be in the hospital
with
the treatments. Some people do. Some people have reactions where they have to go to the hospital.
Right.
I was very fortunate, even though it was rough. It was another rough, but I made it through it. And bless Jack's heart, right after I finished cancer number 2 chemo, the next month he had to have triple bypass surgery, and he collects heart stents. He's got 10 heart stents. He's been my sweetheart for 22 years.
Oh, how precious.
And so he's just been precious, been by my side all the way. My kids all support me.
Yes.
But it's just been such a tough journey just to get through those 2. And then I was there to help him. He's been there to help me. And then round 3, cancer 3 happened. It was in my chest wall a year ago.
Yeah.
So 2022, I did not have to rush into anything. So I had a little time to check into a few things. And I went to UT Southwestern. They said they had only 10 cases of this cancer. It's called a actinic cell carcinoma. It's the rarest form of the parotid gland cancers. Parotid gland is a salivary gland, and of course they took the main one out. That's why I drink 2 gallons of water a day.
Wow. Okay.
We went to MD Anderson in Houston. Found out they've only dealt with 1,000 cases in 35 years. And you compare that to 275,000 plus of breast cancer every year.
Wow.
So there is not a lot of research because this is so rare.
Right.
And the only clinical trial they have, I'm not a candidate for because of the ulcerative colitis. But I made it through round 3. It was a piece of cake. Okay. I had 5 radiation. It was a piece of cake. And then in October last year, they found, because I have scans all the time. In fact, when I'd go fill out all the paperwork at the doctor's office, they'd say, list your dates and scans. I just put the word lots because there's no way to list them all. I've had 2 MRIs many times, the head and neck and the soft tissue. I've had many CTs, many PET scans. And so I just put the word lots. But we ended up seeing the cancer number 4 tumor in my upper abdomen. And from October till January this year, it grew from 1 centimeter to 1.1.
Wow.
And I'd been doing all of this other stuff to try to help my lymph nodes. But Cynthia, I was praying, believing, and claiming, seriously, that number 4 was gone. And in March this year, I made a decision. And I can't tell you what it is about March, but I decided I was feeling better. I thought, I'm going to get back out there and I'm going to really live. I'm not going to wait on that next scan result.
Good for you.
I made that choice. Like we were talking about, it's a choice. And I knew I felt stronger. I felt better. And so I started scheduling different things. I went to a business conference in April, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Help me remember that because I can jump all over.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. And then I had the scan in May. I had a trip to Arizona the end of April, a trip to Arizona the end of May, because the end of May, my youngest grandson was graduating 8th grade. And I had scheduled that. And in between that, I had the scan. And we walked in on May 12th to get the results, because you don't get to see them before you see the doctor for the results.
Right.
I walk in and Jack goes in with me and and the doctor comes in, he says, it's normal. I go, what do you mean normal?
Oh my
And
God.
he shows me, because I always want a copy. You always want to get a copy of the scans yourself and read everything. And there's so many big words that you get to where you know a little bit about what that word means, but then it gives you the findings, 1, 2, 3, whatever. And number 1 said resolution. Number 4 had resolution. That means it was resolved. It wasn't there. It was gone. Gone.
Oh my gosh.
Gone.
Grown initially from, did you say 1 centimeter?
It went from 1 to 1.1 by January of this year. And in May, it was gone.
That's amazing. That's
So
incredible.
I have to give God the glory because, like I say, I was doing all these other things. And I know none of us know how long we have. But God has plans and a purpose for my life more than I realize. Because I'm gonna back up. After number 1, when I set the YouTube channel up, and then cancer number 2 happened, I know God's gonna laugh at me on this one, but I negotiated with him. I was like, okay, God, you had me set that YouTube channel up to help others. We got to keep this going. We can't shut this down.
Your faith.
So that's been going, but I was so excited. And it even said the chest area that I dealt with last year, it said resolution. Everything said stable. and improved. So this is the best scan that I could get out of all these 4.5 years. It was a miracle.
That is a miracle.
Yes.
Your faith sustained you. I mean, everybody has their own persuasion, but your faith sustained you.
And it's not just mental, but it's also heart. So it's the mind and the heart together, combined with that positivity, helped me to get through all of this. And I am moving on, and I'm moving fast. I have scheduled in May, I scheduled going back to the wedding associations. In April, I went to that business conference. And I want to tell you about that business conference because I had not, in 4.5 years, I had not been able to, unless I had radiation, but I didn't get makeup ready for those. So 2 days in a row, I had to shower, get makeup ready, and be somewhere at 8 a.m. I know everybody's going to laugh because everybody goes to work early, right? Well, Naomi has this mind and body battle every day because the mind says, get up, get going, you got things to do. And the body goes, no. And it might be no for a little bit, but that first maybe couple years, I might not get up till noon, 2. The first year, it might have been 4, 5, 6 p.m. before I'd get up because the fatigue was so real. And I still deal with it a lot. I have a lot of side effects from everything. But in April, when I went to that business conference, and it was so awesome, Ramon Ray, who I'm going to show you his book in just a minute, and Trevor Houston put that on. And Ramon wrote The Celebrity CEO, which is my first book review on my YouTube channel. Okay. And I read it once, I read it twice, I made lots of notes. That's what I do. I underline. This is why I have to have the book. I underline, make notes, whatever. But on that second day, Ramon announced that one of the speakers either may be late or may not show up.
At the conference you were attending?
At the conference, yes. It was here in Dallas. And so I went back to him. He was at the back table with his computer. And I said, Ramon, I do this fun communications exercise in my workshops if you need me to do something. I went and sat down. Of course, I'm type A, so I'm up front. Okay. And he didn't know me from Adam.
I was going to ask you, did you know him before?
No. He had never met me. We didn't know each other at all. And so he called one person up to speak, and then the second person, neither one of them were part of that original lineup. And while the second person was speaking, he comes up and he squats down, he whispers, he goes, Naomi, you ready? I said, yes.
Oh my gosh.
And so after she gets through, he announces, Naomi Butler, da-da-da-da-da. So as I'm getting up, I think about this, and I get up there and I'm taking my water because I don't know if I'm going to have it or not. That's all I took was a bottle of water because I knew I need to have it just in case. Okay. And he said, I have about 10 minutes. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go fast here. So I had everybody stand up. Okay. And I said, here's what I want you to do. Let me back up. I made a mistake. I said, I'm not on the same level as everybody because as a speaker, we keep learning, right?
Right.
I made that mistake. I shouldn't have said that.
Exactly. Yes.
Own it. Claim it, right? So I messed up, and I messed up that right after that to not give credit to Ramon for allowing me to speak. So 2 mistakes. We do make mistakes, but we learn from them.
Learn from it.
But anyway, I had everybody get up, and I said, here's what I want you to do. And this is what I'm going to do when I speak on the big stages. I just love it. It gets everybody up from having to sit and listen to somebody. I said, okay, I want you to stomp and dance like no one's watching. So everybody's just moving and shaking. And I think Ramon even got some music going. It was so much fun. And so then we got through that, and I did my communications exercise. I had them pair up, and I do this in my workshops, which I have my first exhibiting workshop coming up June 29 here in Carrollton. And it's my first in-person for 4 years. I haven't had one because of what I was dealing with.
Right.
But I do this, and it helps people to really think about those filler words. And so one person will talk for 60 seconds about something that they're passionate about. The other person makes hashtag marks when that person says, you know,
Filler.
like
Yes.
those filler words that
Yeah.
we shouldn't be doing. And then they switch and the other person does the same thing. So I told them it helps you to really think about practicing the pause and not using a filler word. We all do it.
Yes.
All do it.
Yes, we do.
When I first started speaking, I was so focused on what I was saying that I forgot to smile. And I did the filler words at the very first one. You have to watch yourself being videoed
Right.
to learn.
Yes.
And so I was just so excited. The only thing I said at the end that day about my journey, I said, I am dealing with some health issues, but my motto is smile anyway. Why not? And I went and sat down, and I just feel so grateful and so blessed to have been on that stage, because there were some major people. Ramon is also speaking this Saturday at the National Speakers Association. I saw that on his post, so I am headed there. I am going, and I joined the National Speakers Association. So all of this is tying together, and it's all coming full front here for me putting it out there that I'm ready to speak on some big stages. And one of the other people that was there, I have read her book, and she will be my second book review. And this is something I don't know if I've shared with you, but it's called The Shift, and it's by Kim Walsh Phillips. Okay. She's been on the stage with Tony Robbins. She has worked for Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, and she was doing his social media. But her book is awesome too, and I have made lots of notes, so I'm ready for this book review too. I have many pages of notes, so I'll be doing that one as my second book review. But I just am so excited where all of this has taken me.
But isn't it amazing though what's happening or what I see because of your attitude? Attitude is everything. Because of your attitude and your mindset, it's almost like the images you have in your heart, the desires you have in your mind. It seems like they're being attracted to you with very little effort. Because what are the chances that someone that doesn't know you in a major speaking conference is going to offer you an opportunity to come on stage? They don't know who you are. They don't know what you have to offer. They don't know what you have to share. But I believe really it's the energy that's in you, or in your case, your faith, is allowing that.
It was interesting because Ramon trusted me, not knowing me. He didn't know if I'd be up there being a weirdo, a wacko, crazy person. Who knows what Naomi would have said. And so sometimes there may just be a feeling of trust that you get with somebody. I have no clue, but I just appreciate the opportunity that he gave me that day. And it's going to be awesome to see him again Saturday. So all of this is meant to happen. It's so cool how it's all working out. And sometimes we look at things and those negative gremlins are coming at us. And if we could see the positives and see the future with all those positives, it might even help us to knock some more of those off and just keep knocking them off like that commercial, not today. But I don't know. I just want people to not just float along like a cloud, but I want people to know you can really, really live in the middle of the stuff.
Absolutely.
And Cynthia, you probably don't know this about me, but I don't cuss much, okay? If I said the other S word, my Bridal Shows Inc. team would go, oh no, she said a cuss word. But my daughter would go, yes, because she cusses like a sailor. She didn't get it from me. I don't know how that happened, but It's just been an
Just leaving
awesome
it that
journey
difference.
to go through what I went through and where I am. And I don't wish that on anybody. I don't want somebody to have to go through something drastic to
Right.
really open up and realize there's a gift that's wrapped inside of you. Unwrap it, let it out, and
Absolutely.
open it up, because the world needs you. We're all special and unique. God made us that way. And I have no idea where this journey is going to go, but I am so excited because it's going to go somewhere. And I know God's going to open up so many opportunities and doors that I can share, and I can help, hopefully, to inspire and motivate people to do better,
And
to
empower.
be
Yeah.
more positive, and to get out of that negative mindset that's holding them back from living, really living.
My thought process, Naomi, is so many people run around trying to figure out what is my purpose. And I have narrowed it down in my mind. Our purpose being here is for pleasure. We are here to get pleasure out of life, whether it's pleasure in what you do or pleasure in helping someone else. We are here to get pleasure. And once you focus on that mindset, it's almost like you expect pleasure out of life. If you think of it, what's the opposite of pleasure? What's the opposite of pleasure? Suffering.
Not having fun, not enjoying what you're doing.
Suffering. And we have gotten so used to suffer in comfort. That is so rampant. People suffer trauma, mental situations, emotional issues. We have gotten so used to suffer in comfort. You know, it becomes part of our lives by default. But when something happens to me, the first thing it's always present in my mind. I was created for pleasure, whether it's pleasure in what I do, the things I entertain, the people I help. You know, when I am driving by and I see a homeless person at the curb, and if I decide to give that person some money, it's going to be with pleasure. I do that with pleasure. I don't care what he's going to do with the money. Some people say, well, I don't want him to go
Right.
buy alcohol and beer and whatever. It does not matter to me. It gives me pleasure to do that. And I just go on my way and let that person deals with that. So when you realize that you are created for pleasure, then you go do whatever you want to do. You just go do whatever you want to do. Then that becomes your life purpose. But whether it's work or a job or entertainment, again, it has to bring you pleasure. If the job you're doing doesn't bring you pleasure, then it's not the right job for you. It'll cause depression, anxiety, frustration, and all those emotions that keeps you unhappy. You just can't put your finger on what's happening. You're unfulfilled and you're looking for something, you're grasping. And the whole idea is that you're created for pleasure. And once you think of that, then as long as whatever you do does not infringe on the freedom of another person, whatever it is that you desire to do, go do it. Go do it. Think of it. Getting pleasure out of life is like this broadcast. Oh, Naomi, I think I've shared with you the stress and the anxiety that I kind of went through just because of the technical aspect. But to have a platform where we can talk about living on the bright side of life, I'm fulfilled. We're going to get better. This show is going to get better. We're going to grow. And I have some goals that are already happening. There is no way they won't happen because it's already created in my mind. And I'm happy. I'm content. I have pleasure out of what I'm doing. Having you on this show today, For me, it's a pleasure. And hearing your story, because all of us have a story, and your story, my story, everyone's story is to empower others. But in order to have a story, it starts with knowing who you are. And that's what I find in my coaching uh, experience. I find that most people don't know who they are, and that's going to be one of the main things that I'll be sharing, because we have all acquired an identity that has been imposed upon us, and we live with that identity, uh, until we experience a self discovery and know who we are and what we want and where we're going. Until that happens, we are living on an imposed identity. And that is so normal in society today. It starts from the age of before you're 5 years old. You're influenced by your parents, by your teachers, by religious organizations, the social construct, cultural construct. All of those influence shape us and make us into what we are. But later on, I know in my own experience, and I'll get a chance to share that at some point, you say, no, this is not who I am. I began to ask the whys. Why do I believe this? And how is it serving me today? And as I go through those whys and really be honest with myself and define and add meaning to the different areas of my life, you start editing and evaluating and getting rid of things, but it takes courage to do that. Do you find that in your own life?
You said a mouthful, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to respond to part of it because I may forget all of what you said. But I think for me, it's all about helping others.
Mm-hmm.
That is my pleasure. I was born into a preacher's family, so I'm a PK. I'm a preacher's kid.
Oh, okay.
And I saw my mom and dad helping others in so many ways when they didn't have enough money, they didn't have enough food, but they would share and give food out of the pantry to people that would come by. Because sometimes we were in a parsonage. My dad was preacher of small country churches. And so I learned to help and give, and I'm a giver, and everybody that knows me, they know I love to give and love to help. And
That's
so I think part of me has grown to where I am because of wanting to help others, wanting to make that impact.
Yes.
And it's been such an awesome opportunity to be able to help people now in just dealing with life struggles. It might not be that somebody who's listening is dealing with cancer or an illness. It may just be the chaos and the mess in life,
Yes.
which everybody deals with. And how do you deal with it? I was talking with someone I met just the other day, and she is so awesome. She said she doesn't worry about anything. And she's another PK. I was like, how do you not worry about anything? Because we all go through those unknowns, those fears, and
Yes.
to go through struggles in life, we have to also look at those challenges as opportunities. And that's how I look at it. Those tough situations are opportunities to grow from, to learn, to share with others. Because when we share our story, no matter what we've been through,
Right.
we don't know how many people are listening or watching that can be impacted. And I want to make a huge impact
Exactly.
in people's lives in a positive way,
Right.
to help them see that you can get through it and you're not alone. God was with me right by my side every step of the way in this rough journey, and He's with me every step of the day and every step of the way right now as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to continue on that journey of helping others. So that is, I think that's what gives me pleasure, even though I have a lot of things I love to do. I love to play the piano. I love to paint. I love to make my daughter's doll clothes, and I'm also
You get
teaching my
pleasure out of doing those other things as well? Playing
do
the
what?
piano? Do you get pleasure out of doing all
I
those?
do. I love, and that's why I have all these playlists on my YouTube channel. And I'm in the playing the piano. I had to buy another piano because I sold mine years ago.
Yeah.
So I found a used piano. My son Brian put it at his house, and my oldest granddaughter had made a comment that she wanted to learn. And
I think I saw that video. You were
yes.
yes.
And so I thought, I don't want her to have this pressure because I'm self-taught pianist. I'm a self-taught artist, self-taught business owner. And so I learned to play the piano by note because I had such determination. By the time I was 17, I was pianist in my dad's church. And so when I was sitting there with Olivia just this last week, and she was in there while I was playing, and she said again she wanted to learn. I said, "Are you sure? Because I want you just to have fun." I'd had friends when I was younger that had piano lessons, and they were forced to do their lessons, and I didn't want that. I just wanted it to be fun and just love it, and I want the same for her. And so I think we're getting some of that love. It's coming out. And so to be able to pass anything along to my granddaughters here, my grandsons in Arizona, who some of them, we've had some deep conversations because they're older. And again,
That's your daughters.
My daughter has 3 boys. My son has 2 girls. And so I've got 5 grandkids. Jack has a bunch too. So together we've got a lot of grandkids. And I just am all about helping others. And even in the business world, I'm here about helping people build their business. And that's why I've done my workshops to thousands of people. And even if they're not in my show, I'm the only show producer, I think, in the nation that opens my workshops up to everybody. I might have home show, bridal show people who are exhibitors in consumer shows who attend my workshops. I was on the plane in April, and a gentleman sitting next to me, he and his wife had a window and door company in Alabama. And he said their home show was gone. COVID killed it. And so I was giving him all kinds of ideas. He was like, I never thought of that, never thought of that, never thought of that. Wow. And so you just never know who you can help.
Right.
And so mine is not just helping necessarily to deal with those life struggles, which is the biggest part of it, but I'm here to help people build their business, to build themselves, to take those risks, take those challenges as opportunities. And I'm just recharged. Zig Ziglar, who was my Sunday school teacher, I saw him at a conference many years before. And if you've ever heard a lot of his Zigisms, at this conference, he said, they asked him if he was retired. He said, no, I'm refired.
We talked about that, remember? Yeah. He retired, yes.
I am refired, but also I'm recharged, just like my battery got recharged.
Yes.
So I want to thank you so much for having me today.
I spoke at Zig Ziglar's organization years ago.
Oh, awesome!
And yeah, I'm familiar with his work. Yeah, it's been a while. The main thing that comes to mind for me, Naomi, is really seeing people step into their true, authentic self and get out there and live life now.
Yes.
Now, because there's just so much that's going on around us. And, we can put things off, we can wait, we can, subject things to the perfect moment, but there's really never a perfect moment. The perfect moment is now, because now is all that you have. Now, some people say, don't think of the past, don't plan for the future. Well, that's not me. My past, I relish the good moments. I can select and I relish, I cherish the memories that it's given me. And for the future, I plan. I do a lot of mental planning, and, we like to travel. I like to plan that. And again, when I think, it's in images. So I that's what I do. But then at the same time, you stay present and you want to make sure that everything you do is intentional, that you are conscious of your presence and the people around you. When you love deeply. When you help with pleasure, with your heart, and so forth. So those are the things, I just, when I talk to my clients, again, people needs to be encouraged, motivated, inspired, but most of all, empowered. We're so mindful of what would people think and what would people say. And I always say, people have issues of their own, and sometimes they don't even have time to think about you. So move forward with your own life. Take some time. Go on a self-discovery journey. Know what you are. Evaluate every situation in your life, and the things that brings you love, joy, pleasure. You want to focus on those, and the things, and it will be a challenge. The things that you're still hanging on to, perhaps conventional habits, tradition. If they no longer serve you in this moment, then there is no need, because all that it brings is frustration. And that's my take. What do you have to share with us to close out? We're almost ending an hour, and
You made me think of something because of doing what you love.
yeah,
And I've interviewed so many over the years in my business, and I would ask them this question. If you had all the money and the time in the world, what would your dream job be? And I'll give you two. I could give you thousands of examples because I've interviewed lots of people over the years. But I remember one person telling me she wanted to own a restaurant. I said, then why would you go backwards and come work for me? Go to a restaurant, start from ground up, and learn everything you can. And so someone else that I interviewed wanted her own rental company. Excuse me. Effects of radiation. And I said, then go do this. And she even called me a few years later. She said, thank you for not hiring me. But I think
wow,
what my point is, everybody needs to find something that they enjoy.
yeah,
And it could be that you need to get stretched a little bit, go do something different or do it a different way. Find what you enjoy. If you're in a job, so to speak, that you don't like, either start learning something new that you can find some joy out of.
right.
Build
Yes,
on
pleasure.
that.
You call it joy, I say pleasure, but it's the same thing
Yes.
pretty much. Yes,
But find a way to love what you're doing,
yeah,
or
absolutely.
learn another skill and then go towards that type of business
Yes,
and follow your dream, because you want to be okay where you are and you want to enjoy what you're doing.
yes,
So you might have to kind of go try a few new things, but even if you, like me, I have lots of other things I like to do. And so just search, be
right,
creative, go try to do different things, but find something you love
absolutely.
and find those moments that you can really live your life loving what you do.
Right, right. Absolutely. Excellent. Well, this has been an excellent chat. We're gonna we're gonna wrap it up. But we'll have to do this again, Naomi. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for,
Thank you.
well, I appreciate you taking the time to come and share. And I know there's a lot more that you had. 1 hour is not enough for you to share, so we're going to have you come back so that you can share the rest of your story, which is unique. But again, what inspires me the most is your attitude now, your attitude as it is now, as you're still navigating the challenges. You don't complain. You don't, try to make excuses. You just deal with it. And it's such an inspiration because you are very highly motivated and your energy level is so contagious.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. So anyway, we're going to sign off. Thanks again. And I'm going to put on our little jingle here. I wish I discovered, but
Appreciate you. Love you.
love you too. Let me see.